Here we go. Let's hope it's recording. All right. Welcome tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming. We're super excited for everybody here on our Are You Diversified Zoom call for our first call of the new year of 2019. Welcome. We have an incredible, amazing group of speakers tonight. I'm super excited that they have all joined us and said that they would come on. And I just want for you, as you listen to their stories, to hear how they have created freedom and choices for their families simply by saying yes. And as you sit and listen, I would love for you to sit and think about what are the dreams and some hopes that you and your family might have that you could possibly create over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And what could $500 or $1,000 do for you every month? So our first speaker is Mr. Jeff Olson. He is I hope I get this right, an Olympic, is it downhill skier? Is that correct? Oh, yeah, I did it right. Who has been in this business thanks to his wife and now himself. So, Mr. Jeff, please take it over.
Well, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to everyone, and honored to be here. I guess what I'm going to do tonight is just tell you a little bit of my story, and if you see part of your story and my story, that's kind of how this whole thing works. You know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we were introduced to this conversation. We've been around a few years, 18 to be exact. But when I was introduced to this conversation, I got parts of it and I didn't get other parts of it. And I guess the invitation that I experienced that long ago was, I saw something in plant powders that made sense to me. And that's kind of where everyone enters this conversation. But as a man, I was one of the fortunate guys to just kind of not think too much about it, and I just kind of got that. But I didn't get the whole diversify your income side and how this could be an actual business. The one thing I did well, though, was I was supportive of my wife, Tony, who decided to take it on as her own side hustle as we started having children and she left the corporate world. I married magna summa cum laude. I'm a Joe Sixpack guy, old athlete guy. You know, I was transport for testosterone back in my 20s and 30s. Professional athletics. Then I worked in Wall Street. Then I worked at technology, and, overtraining ended my athletic career, and ambition drove me to Wall Street, and desire to earn a fast buck drove me into the technology space, and made money, lost money. And I was working for the man, getting paid well, but not very fulfilled, and looking for kind of a way out, or as in the back of most people's mind, how could I have my own piece of the American dream or my own thing? And turns out my wife had her little thing going, and I just thought it was her little thing. I was supportive. I just, as a guy, didn't really understand how this could be, quote unquote, real business. But, I was pretty intellectually ignorant, I guess. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just couldn't see how you could turn fruit, vegetable, and berry powders into a way to provide for your family as a man. I have 3 daughters, 2 are in college, and so back then I just didn't quite get it. I understood sort of intellectually that there was it was a possibility, but I just couldn't see how it could actually translate in my family. But I tell you what, when we got on these plant powders, made sense to me. It was like hygienic, brushing your teeth kind of thing. Just got it. The earth didn't move for me. It wasn't tall buildings, a single bound, but I understood the compounding effect of good food. And like any good thing, you got to compound the fundamentals over time to have it mean anything. So 15 months into taking plant powders, I began to notice some effects in myself. And hey, this, I knew intellectually that it would work, but it was at a subclinical level. But then I began to experience it externally. Hey, this is making me work. Now I'm 52 years old. I'm going to play soccer tonight at 10 p.m. Mountain Time with a bunch of 20-year-olds. And they now look at this old guy, I'm the older statesman, and they want to be like me when they get to be my age. And so the roles have been flipped. You look at people older than you, and they're up to something, they're bouncing their steps. So I've had these plant powders compounding in my body for 18 years now. So the business side, what got my attention as a man is my wife started paying the mortgage. Period. End of story. Show me the money. If this is so great, how does it work? My wife started paying the bills, and I was like, cool, tell me more. I was her date. I showed up. I listened. I learned. I sat in the back. I poked the bear. I had questions, right? If it's so great, why isn't this in Walmart? That was one of my MBA kind of questions. Well, turns out, Jay Martin, Jeff, it's one thing to get a customer in business, but it's a whole other thing to retain a customer in business. And that's why we pay you. And I was like, oh, retention. New light bulb. Retention is actually really good business. And so the thing about our little itty bitty plant powders is people get on it, makes sense. They stay on it because it becomes hygienic health food. And it's only as good as you take it every day. And my wife and I have had customers for 15, 16, 17 years, and they take it every day. And it's good for them as much as they do it every day. And that, compounding effect creates, a monthly paycheck. So that idea of residual income, it's one thing to have a product that people buy, but it's a whole other thing to have a product that people buy and consume, and then actually gets in this really small bullseye called hygiene. I think of this as my hygienic health foods. So from the standpoint of creating an income stream that is sustainable and enduring, that was one of the things I grabbed on pretty quickly was, this is built to last. This is sustainable, durable income. I talk about building physiological durability with these plant powders. Talk about building sort of durability in cash flow. This is really a hard thing, to really mess up if you take care of your customers, because they get on it and becomes habitual and hygienic for them. And so from the standpoint of, building income in today's world, the world has changed, man. When we got in it, there was a lot of sort of mental gymnastics and a lot of unlearning that people, look, the internet kind of has blown everything up. Social media has kind of blown everything up. And people kind of get now that, good companies are looking for good people to do good work and get out there and get after it. And so, the questions that people have tuning in tonight is, will it work? How does it work? Will it work for me? Can I do it? You're not a unicorn. All those questions we all kind of have. But the invitation is to really, really put us through some due diligence or do your homework so that you can make a good decision, a powerful decision, yes or no, either way. And from the standpoint of building a diversified income, if you got a 401k or an IRA or you're building for retirement, you spend the next 20, 30 years getting that nest egg. Let's say you're disciplined and you're on point and you got a company match if you're working for a company, and you get $1 million at the end of that journey and you're ready to live off of that income, right? That's the game, is your retirement plan is going to generate cash flow for you to live off of. Well, let's say $1 million. You're really good to get $1 million in retirement, and you pull 3, 4, 5% off that every year to live off of. Call it 5, 6%. Let's call it 5%. Make it easy. That's $50,000 a year in cash flow, right? You're going to live off of that income. Turns out that that's about $4,000 a month in cash flow. You got to pay taxes on that, right? Ordinary income and taxes, because you're pulling it out of your tax deferred account. So let's say you're clearing $4,000 or $5,000 a month, right, in cash flow. You can build $4,000 or $5,000 a month with this business in 3 to 5 years, no problem. We have people doing it way faster than that, and there's a predictable way to do it. So from the standpoint of just purely generating cash flow, I would invite people, why not do both? If you can find a side hustle that builds durable cash flow, and couple that with max out your IRA or 401k, you can do both. And so from the standpoint of just building cash flow, we can get to call it $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in, call it 2, 3, 4, 5 years, pretty readily. And that is the equivalent of a pretty sizable chunk of cash sitting in a deferred investment account that you would access at some later date. The cool thing is you get to access it now. The other thing about having a side hustle and diversifying your income is if you don't own your own business, this is a tax, this is a mentor, owning your own business or small business is one of the last great legal tax loopholes left. We are in a lifestyle business. My wife and I live through our business. We literally live through our business. We have people over for dinner. It's a tax write-off. I mean, because we're in the healthy lifestyle business, we can, legally write off a ton of stuff as it relates to our work, right? And so if you don't own a home-based business or a side business, this particular kind, being in the healthy living business, we get to go out and do things and interact and have fun and be out living a healthy lifestyle, and there are tax advantages from that. So if you've never had a side hustle, if you're looking for a credible company to sort of do your due diligence on, health is a big problem in our world. We've delivered a simple, elegant solution to a really big problem in the marketplace, which is getting enough fruit and vegetable matter into people every day. People don't do it. They can't do it. They won't do it. And we just sit there as plant powders, kind of in between the produce aisle and the traditional supplement aisle, to say, hey, this is a think different approach. Here's a way to bridge that gap. And, as I said, people get on it, makes sense. And I'll just leave you with this thought. We have ambassadors who just make some, $200-300 a month. We've got what I call sort of health agents who build a small little customer base of 25-30 customers and get $500-600-700 a month in cash flow just from a retail customer base. And then we have those who kind of say, hey, I want to bust off and start my own agency and work with other agents. People kind of understand the agency model. And if you want to build a multiple 5-6 figure income, that's an option. You don't have to. But that's what my wife and I decided to do about a decade ago. We were health agents with Juice Plus and the plant powders, and we decided, hey, let's build an agency and revenue share with other agents around the world. So I'll close with the fact that I never thought I'd be in this line of work. It's exceeded my expectations in all kinds of ways. It's humbled me in really great ways. And if you haven't experienced our tribe, our community, our culture, I would invite you to get with the person that invited you. Come to some of our live events and begin to see who we are and how we roll. And I invite you to learn more. So with that, I'll leave it there. And I think I'm turning it over to Jayme Westerfield. Take it away, Jayme.
Thank you, Jeff. That was awesome. It's funny. We've all been in the business a long time, but now I'm hearing your story, and I don't think I've ever actually heard your whole story. So that's excellent. I'm probably one of the oldest ones that probably on here tonight that's been in the business a long time. I've been in the business now for over 20 years. And we all have different paths that get us where we're at. I was actually diagnosed with colon cancer almost, in fact, in 2 weeks, it'll be 21 years. And a doctor actually told me about Juice Plus and said, you know what, Jayme, I think this will really help you, because I had to go through chemo, surgery, all of it. And so I did. I started taking it, and my blood results and the health that I got from it, it just was such an amazing thing, how much it helped me. And what came after that was really life-changing. I had a full-time job. We had two kids at the time that were 6 and 9, and there was no way that I could not be working. So, and I had a 6-figure income, so I had to, there was no way I could change. I think all of us have these little dreams in our head that maybe someday something will come along that can unlock an opportunity that could change that. So I was telling everybody about Juice Plus because of my own results, and one thing led to another, and I kept referring them to the doctor that signed me up. And one day he called me and he goes, Jayme, you ought to consider being a representative of this company. And I started laughing. I go, I don't have time for that. I've got 2 kids. I've got a full-time job, and I'm going through chemo once a week. Are you out of your mind? And he goes, stop trying to compartmentalize it as another job. He goes, you're doing this as you live your life. And I thought about it, and it was true. Whether I was at work or I was at my kids' sporting events or school events or church or a neighborhood barbecue, I was telling everybody about it, which is what we do. We tell our stories. And so that little thing went off in my head, like the what if. What if this could actually be a tool that could bring me home to be with my children? So I decided to go for it, but I still had to work full time. I built my entire business working full time. And it is a part-time business, but you do it as you live life. So it took me 1 year to leave my full-time job. I had not replaced my income yet at that point, but it was good enough to get me home. And I'll never forget the day I dropped my kids off at school, and I looked down and I poured myself a cup of coffee, and I had my sweats on, and I go, this is the best day of my life. I traded my suits for my sweats. Can't get any better than this. And it took me another year to become a national marketing director, and I've never looked back. I think about back then, I'm 61 years old. I would still be working today because it's changed. I worked in telecommunications, and the industry got tighter and harder, and my job became harder and harder. I didn't work 40 hours, I worked 60 hours a week. And now I was able to be home, be with my family. My kids are now 31 and 27. I have a grandchild. I never missed any of those important things that matter in life. You know, I ask people all the time, is what you're doing now going to provide you with the lifestyle that you want to live the rest of your life? Because if it isn't, what if you could invest 2 to 5 years to build something that can give you all of those things? You know, I get to be my own boss. I fire myself and hire myself all the time. My son races cars. We travel, we spot a motorhome, and we travel all over the country. I can do my business virtually from anywhere. And having all my medical benefits for my family, my kids had it till they were 26. It doesn't get any better. I never had that in corporate America, never. And I get to make my own decisions and work with the people that I want to work with. And most importantly, I found something I'm actually passionate about. You know, I wasn't passionate about wires and networks and stuff like that. So tried to be really respectful of the time I have. I ask you, if what you're doing now isn't giving you that possibility, that dream, then there is an opportunity. Where can you go and invest $50 on your family's future? So I'm glad I did. So I'm now going to turn it over to a powerhouse couple, Ayrn and Dan, that are just going bonkers and changing the Juice Plus world. So you guys take it away.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and pleasure to be on here. And thank you so much for that compliment. We're the Maurer house, right? The powerhouse Maurer house. I'm Ayrn.
I'm Dan.
And we're so grateful to be here on here tonight and just share a little bit about our experience and really what this diversification has done for us. A little bit about me. I'm an athletic trainer, master's in sports medicine, kinesiology, Pilates instructor, own a personal training studio, nutritionist, ABCDEFG, you know, alphabet soup. And what I really was somebody who loved helping people, loved the idea of health and wellness, and wanted to upgrade my own health and upgrade my life, right? Like we get phones and then we upgrade when things don't necessarily work or fit anymore. And I was the one who kind of drove the ship of the business for a while. I met my husband and teacher.
Yeah.
So I was the breadwinner for a long time. Love teachers. We also know they don't really get paid what they deserve to get paid. And I was making a 6-figure income with my training studio. I loved what I did. I made my own hours. I loved my clientele. And I wasn't looking for another business or anything like that. But what I was looking for is time freedom. When we were pregnant with our first child, I knew that I didn't want our child to be raised in a daycare, pretty much. And I also knew I wanted her to know who mommy was. It was really, really important to me. I'm a child of divorce, 5 siblings. And when dad split, we were on welfare and just wasn't the best thing in the world. And sometimes our dreams for our future are our wishes of the past. And I knew what I wanted. I wanted both parents to be home. And I knew I wanted siblings to be together. And I knew that I wanted to have the income and, more importantly, even the time for us to have those family moments that I felt were taken away from me. I was raised a family, you know, in the Detroit area. We were taught to do it right, like go work hard and get that job and get that retirement and that pension and everything will be okay. And it did not happen that way. And I know it really doesn't exist that way anymore. And so I was looking, I wasn't looking for another business, but I was at least open-minded enough to listen to opportunities. Very fortunate we live in South Florida, and I had a clientele of millionaires and billionaires, so I paid a lot of attention to them and still do. And what I did learn was paying attention to the people in this community, first of all, incredibly positive and healthy and an incredible environment to be around. And also these people seem to have a pretty good lifestyle. And I knew that I wanted that type of a lifestyle. And that's really where we took the reins with the business. Here in South Florida, there's hurricane season. And in hurricane season, you can have everything physically in your house or your belongings completely wiped out in a matter of days. And I knew that when Hurricane Katrina came through down here in South Florida, that year, Wilma wiped out where we were supposed to get married. And I knew I didn't want to go home and live in my parents' basement in Michigan. And what I needed was income in the bank and be able to start my life over somewhere else. It didn't matter. I couldn't go to a physical job, right, to make that income. And that was really appealing to me with this type of diversification. And most importantly, having more than one egg in the basket, right? Because I had the upfront money from the training, but this business really afforded me the residual income that when people couldn't come into the gym and work with me, the income was still coming in, which really saved our tushes when the economy crashed after our first child, and we had 2 homes, and we had a renter who couldn't pay their rent, and really fun situation with teaching that I'll let you talk about a little bit.
Well, just to talk a little bit about on my end, when we met, I did that 30-year plan. I graduated school, I got the job, I got a great teaching gig back at my alma mater at Stoneman Douglas High School. And just saying those words, everybody knows what happened last year. And I was fortunate enough that 3 years ago, this is the 4th year now that I was able to walk away from teaching there after 15 years. I loved it. I'm passionate about teaching, but it didn't afford the lifestyle that we all should be able to deserve to have. And I realized after, like Jeff had said, watching my wife do this business and realizing, oh, that's her thing. Well, why isn't it my thing too? Because when I was able to walk away, what I was able to do was be a father present, which was big for me. I never had that. I never was able to have that all the time, where I'm able to take my kids every single day to school. And even if it's just driving them and nothing is said, I'm there. They see me. They say goodbye to me. They give me a hug every single time and a kiss every single time I walk out of that car. And that to me is priceless. I couldn't give you $1 million to take that away from me. And that was a big thing why I wanted to join in with my wife and do this. As a man, it was huge to me. But having that diversification of the funds allowed us as a family to take trips, to do things that I never thought as a father and as a husband that we would be able to do. This past year was mind-blowing to me because of the diversification, because of the funds that we had coming in from this business alone. We were able to just take our kids out on a Friday, no big deal.
5 weeks of travel.
5 weeks of travel in the summer,
And throughout the year without having a boss tell us that we can't do it.
You're right. I mean, it was amazing. And without this business, it would not have been possible. I had 2 jobs as a teacher, which most teachers do know that most teachers do have 2 jobs. And at one point I lost one of them, which was a $21,000 hit for our family. If we didn't have this diversification, we would have been in trouble. And I can't thank this business enough, thank my wife for constantly dripping on me for those 15 years to really look at this as more than just, hey, it's her thing and not a family thing. So,
well, seeing is believing, right?
Right.
And living is believing. So thank you guys so much for letting us share our experience and really what this has done for us, and spoiled our kids because they get to have mom and dad both present, and they get to see the entrepreneurship, and they get to see that there's more outside the box than a 9-to-5, so to speak. They see options and possibilities. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn it over to Robin.
Have a great one, guys.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Love your story. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and just going to make it kind of short because we still have another speaker. But 17 years, I was home as a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. My husband is a cancer doctor, worked for a private practice, and his practice dissolved. I had not brought in any income in 17 years, 3 kids in private school, and it was one of those moments where I thought, why have I not added to our financial situation? And I had just started taking our Awesome Juice Plus products about 2 months prior, and I thought, wow, I wonder if there's a business behind this. And I reached out to the doctor who shared Juice Plus with me, and I just got to work. I knew that this opportunity was huge, and in 3.5 years, my husband, within a week, received another job at a great hospital. But it gave me that opportunity, opened my eyes up to that I could actually contribute. And not only have I contributed, but in 3.5 years, I reached a top position in the company. Our kids who are now 22, 20, and 17 see me as a win mom. They love what I do. 2 have joined our business who are 18 and older. And I provide the full corporate benefits for our family. Even though my husband works for a great hospital, our Juice Plus benefit package is unbelievable. We get college tuition assistance. It is amazing. So I just really want to encourage you to take a look at our marketing plan. We don't have time that, but it's brilliant. Jay Martin, who has started our company 25 years ago, just was brilliant in how he formed it. And I just am so grateful that I was open to getting rid of my I'm too cool for network marketing, because every single year, over 600,000 people are joining. Actually, a new home-based business is developed every 10 seconds. So if you're not adding to your financial, situation, look at something that you can do as a home-based business, because it's where the future is. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my dear friend, Allie Schneider, who is the busiest person I know in my life. So Allie, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Robin. Yes. Okay. I'm so excited to be here, and I might be the busiest person I know as well. And I know we're on a time crunch here. So I'm just going to tell you guys, I think I can, kind of wrap this into my day to day and show you what this business has done for me. Because 10 years ago, my day would have consisted of personal training all day, teaching group fitness classes, teaching health classes at the university, coaching basketball. I had 5 or 6 different gigs going on, and I was a new mom, and I had all this other stuff. And so my day today, I'll just tell you, I woke up at 3:30 a.m. Yes, but that's because I was in Santa Barbara, and I flew home. I literally flew home in time to drive to my kids' my kids are 9 and 7 now. I coach both of their basketball teams. I homeschool them. So drove to practice, and we literally got done with practice 16 minutes before this call started. And now I get to be here with you guys, and then I get to go put my kids to bed. And so what does freedom, what has this done for me? It's changed my life. And people ask me all the time, it doesn't look like you, lifestyle, whatever. Freedom to me is everything I do. Freedom to you might be, I don't know. Some people think I'm supposed to just sit around the house all day. That's totally, if you want, if that's your freedom, that's your freedom. My freedom is choosing. I choose to homeschool my kids because I can. I couldn't do that 10 years ago with the job I was working. I choose to coach their basketball teams because I can, because I have the time freedom to do both of those things. I'm busy, but it's all things that I'm choosing because of the freedom of this. I choose to be involved. My husband is the head women's basketball coach at the University of Kansas. That's a full-time job for me. On the side of that, I choose to be very much involved with that and travel with the team and do things with the team at our house. I can choose that, I choose to travel. I just spent the weekend in Santa Barbara, and that's my choice. And I not only do I have the time, I know I'm busy, but it's my style of freedom, the busyness that I have. So I try to, make people understand that it is freedom to me, because I love everything I'm doing. And I don't ever dread a day waking up into this life that I get to live right now. And so not only do I have the option to choose all those things, I also have the finances to do it without hesitation. I'm home for 30 hours, and I'm flying to Dallas because there's an awesome event happening in Dallas that I don't want to miss. And, my kids get to travel. We get to experience life. So it looks different for everyone, but I would tell you, that's what's so awesome about this, is that we all come from different backgrounds. You've heard a bunch of different stories tonight. And, everybody's freedom looks different to them. But what this has done is it's allowed every single one of us, in whatever that looks like, options. And the options to choose to do the things that we want to do in our life and live the way we want to live, and the financial backing to be able to do it. For me to say, yeah, I'm going to Santa Barbara and Dallas this week, and not even think about it. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do probably either of those things. And just to be able to do that. So it's total freedom. In whatever it looks like for you. So I just encourage you all, if you're not into this yet, then you need to be. Set some goals about what your freedom would look like, what that is for your life, if it's your family, your kids, all of it, and just go get it. And that's all I've got for you.
Thank you so much, Allie, and all of the speakers tonight. I really appreciate you all being on here. Again, it says my name is Kim Williams, but I'm actually Shanna Lentz. I had to use a friend's line. So thank you. If you're on here from someone has invited you to join tonight, please reach out to them to find out more information on how to join this amazing community of shiny, happy people. And we just love to help one another and have to build that residual income so that we can make our dreams and our dreams come true. So thank you so much tonight. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week.